I think common sense wins out every time. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Mr. Nadler.
Mr. Chairman, the Trump administration, after pardoning hundreds of violent criminals, has launched a reckless, chaotic, and inhumane immigration policy that is making our communities less safe. The administration, and as we heard today, the chairman of this committee, speak as if all immigrants are criminals. The administration is draining resources away from other important law enforcement priorities and is even targeting legal immigrants and vulnerable populations. It's no surprise that many states and localities do not want to aid and abet the president's extreme anti-immigrant agenda. Recognizing that good policing depends on building trust with their residents, many cities forbid their law enforcement officers from questioning victims of crime or witnesses to a crime about their immigration status, and they do not share immigration information with federal authorities. They believe that their communities are at greater risk when a victim of domestic violence is afraid to ask the police for protection from her abuser for fear of deportation, or when witnesses to a murder refuse to assist law enforcement in tracking down the perpetrator because they're afraid their immigration status will be discovered. These cities have concluded that if they take on the federal responsibility to enforce immigration laws, it would destroy trust between immigrants and local law enforcement, which would make everyone less safe. Major Franklin, why is building trust with all members of the community so important to policing?
I think you touched on something, sir, regarding the importance of, it's not just for keeping members of the immigrant community safe, because there's a very small number of violent offenders also prey on people outside of that community as well. So as soon as we can get the reporting of the crime, the cooperation from witnesses to have that person arrested, charged, convicted, and get them off the streets and hold them responsible, the better for not just the immigrant community, but the entire community.
Is it fair to say then that if minority communities, immigrants, or really any part of your community feels unsafe going to the police, that it makes everyone in the jurisdiction less safe? And can you explain
Absolutely.
why?
Again, because the importance of that trust, and this isn't something new, by the way. We've experienced the same thing with underserved communities where there's no trust with the police, and we fail to get an accuracy regarding the crimes because they're not reported. There's no trust in reporting the crime because they don't believe the police are going to do the right things, and in many cases they believe the police may cause them some sort of harm. In the immigrant community, it's about being deported, and not just the victim or the witness being deported, but that victim or witness can be friends or relative of someone else who might be undocumented, and they fear that deportation, so there's going to be limited, if any communication, any cooperation at all with the authorities. And it's not just about communicating with the police, it's about fearing interacting with other positions of authority and services within a city who they believe they may have some sort of relationship with law enforcement. They want to ensure that them and their friends and families are not subjected to deportation.
Thank you. One of the priority Republican bills this Congress, H.R. 32, the so-called No Bailout for Sanctuary Cities Act, which has been teed up for floor consideration in the coming weeks, would gut billions in federal funding for states and localities, including funding for essential programs like public safety, education, and transportation, if states and localities are not able to aid the Trump administration in federal immigration enforcement. Would cutting federal funding from local and state police departments help or hurt public safety?
It would make public safety much worse.
Can you talk about the real-world impact that these cuts would have on the ability of law enforcement to protect their communities?
Absolutely. When I was in charge of Baltimore City Human Resources, we had a special unit that applied for federal grants because we need the funding, we need the resources, not just for law enforcement activities and duties, but for other important things like youth programs, which are extremely important, other services, mental health services. There are many types of critical services that our communities need.
Okay, thank you. As we've heard today, my Republican colleagues talk as if all immigrants are criminals. Could you tell us whether that's true, and whether, in fact, the studies show that the crime rate among immigrants is lower than the crime rate among native-born American citizens?
Studies show that among the immigrant community, it's lower.
So
than
most
native-born.
immigrants are not criminals.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I yield
Time
back.
has expired. Sheriff Nails.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and I thank the panel for being here. Thank you, Sheriff